Here we go.
We'll call the annual meeting in the Newham Economic Development Authority for Tuesday, January 9, 2018, 8 a.m. to order. First item on the agenda is a roll call. We do have a quorum, so we'll go to item number 2, which is the election of officers. First one is for president. Do we have any volunteers?
So I think we can we run a motion to approve the current seat? How do we do that again?
Probably do
All
anything.
three the same?
You mean all the positions?
Yeah.
I guess
Do
we
that?
can.
We can still do that, can't we?
Well, if it's
make
documented,
the
I would
motion.
assume we can.
I'll offer a motion that all positions remain the same for 2018.
Second.
We got a motion and a second with no changes. Any more discussion? Anybody opposed? Motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. All right. We'll go on to item number 3 then. Consider motion appointing the EDA commission to the, commissioner, I should say, to the Newham Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors.
All right, good morning. Whoa. Good morning.
Was that the censors button or no?
As you recall, at our last meeting on December 12th, 2017, the authority authorized staff to enter into a contract with the Newham Economic Development Corporation, or the NUEDC, for a period of 1 year on the condition that an EDA commissioner have a seat on their board of directors. So we need to go ahead and appoint a commissioner to serve on the Newham EDC board. They meet at the Kaiserhof the second Thursday of each month at noon.
I'll offer a motion for Dan Braun to be on this take this position.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Congratulations, Dan.
More meetings.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yay.
Item number 4, approval of the minutes of the regular EDA meeting held on December 12th, 2017.
I'll make a motion approving those minutes.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 5, from the Newham Economic Development Corporation, coordinator regarding the activities during the month of December 2017. Brian?
Brian Toll, Newham Economic Development Corporation. You should have my December report in your packet. I'd like to call out a few items just for your attention. Excuse me. We've been visiting with representatives from Windings regarding their potential new facility, and they've been asking questions about what potential incentives might be available. So we've met with a number of them. We've met with Mike's colleague, Randy Sharple from Franson Bank and Foley, who has a client that's looking at opening a mental health clinic in Newham, which would be a very good thing. And we've been working with Brent Donner of DLC Manufacturing and Fabrication regarding their purchase of a lot in the Airport Industrial Park for an expansion that they're planning in 2018. And then the last thing I'd like to call out is the Career Expo for 2018, which will be held on April 4th. Questions?
I have just a couple questions on the Windings operation. Is he looking at an additional building or a whole new complex?
Whole new complex.
To house everybody?
Consolidate.
Out at the industrial park, I would assume.
Yep.
Okay. And I thought I had another one.
Well, they haven't pulled the trigger on that, obviously.
Oh, there's still discussion.
But it's discussion, yeah.
Yep. Okay. I had another one on. Oh, it's with Windings again on the tax abatement. Is that the end all? Is that what he's really, or is that what's holding up the issue? Is he getting the information on that area, in that area?
They have the information, it's not holding it up.
Okay.
They just wanted to know how that works. You know, a lot of these companies, they deal with it maybe once,
Right.
and so they don't know the details. And so that's the value of meeting with them prior to, is to provide them with the details of what they have to do and how it works and what they receive and what the city expects.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. No more questions? Entertain a motion?
I'll offer a motion to approve, to accept the report regarding activities during the month of December.
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item number 6, from the EDA staff regarding administrative activities during the month of December. Heather?
Right. Note for Section 8, we had 88 vouchers on the program for the month of December. Housing assistance payments, disbursements from HUD exceeded payments to landlords by $600 for the month, and administrative fee disbursements exceeded expenses by $1,300. Note the unaudited balances on pages 3 and 4 of your report, and note on page 5, we did drop down to 85 vouchers as of January 1st. We have a waiting list of 75. Due to the drop in vouchers, staff did offer 5 new vouchers, and we do have a few people coming in to get those. Usually if we offer 5, we get 2 or 3 that actually come in, and from there we might get 1 or 2 that successfully lease up. So we just don't want to let that number drop too low. Still waiting to see if Congress is going to pass a budget, but we did get our notice of our funding for January and February, so we're just kind of going based on that until we find out our calendar year funding. Moving on to the public housing report, program expenditures have exceeded revenues by just under $5,400 for the fiscal year to date. Broadway House is fully leased with 40 on the waiting list. The family units are fully leased with 28 on the waiting list. Moving on to the EDA report on page 10, cash assets of just under $626,000. The large jump in revenue, that shouldn't say for June, that should say for December, is due to the second half EDA share of property tax settlement from Brown County, and also proceeds from a lot sale in the Milford Heights first edition. We were contacted by a builder that's interested in building affordable homes in New Ulm, requested information on available residential lots owned by the city. So we did provide them with information on our 9 remaining lots in the Milford Heights first edition. We have not heard back.
Heather, when you heard responded back, did you let them know that those were TIF
I did.
eligible? Great. Okay.
Moving on then to the property rehabilitation loan program, we have available funds of $238,800. We did receive and approve an application in December for a loan in the amount of $50,000. Moving on to the rental property fund on page 13, cash assets of $77,800. And the Garden Terrace report, Garden Terrace has 85 units leased with 70 on the waiting list. They currently have 3 vacancies. They had 2 turnovers during the past month, and they've received no move-out notices for February. One of those 3 vacancies has been vacant for over a month. They are waiting for carpet, and the carpet got held up due to weather in Georgia.
I think they're
they got
wimps.
some snow or something down there, and it's holding up, getting that turnover completed so they can release it to someone else. And note the large decrease in the Garden Terrace fund balance was due to a board-approved transfer to the EDA fund, and that was due to the assessment payments in the Milford Heights first edition. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Heather?
No.
I would like to add one more item. I did hand out an article that the ICMA, International City Managers Association, put together back in 2010. That had been distributed to city staff and the EDC in the past, and I thought because EDA is interested in doing economic development, this would give you just a different perspective, because they're not talking necessarily about the home run of bringing in 50 to 100 employees in a new company. They're talking about growing what you have, and how do you identify who has that potential, and how do you work with them, et cetera, et cetera. So just thought I'd pass that along to you. City Council will get also a copy at their next meeting. Just kind of give everybody different perspective on economic development.
Good, thanks. Anybody have any questions for Heather? Not, entertain a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the administrative activities report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 7A, receive a public housing assessment score for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2017.
All right. Every year we are evaluated on our public housing program. That's called Public Housing Assessment System, or FOSS. We've received our FOSS score for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2017. They evaluate 4 indicators: physical, financial, management, and capital fund. And we have received a score of 96% for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2017, which puts our overall performance rating as high performer.
Thank you. Any questions for Heather?
I'll offer a motion to approve the score.
A second.
We got a motion and a second receiving the public housing assessment system. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 7B, receive a schedule of approval for the fiscal year 2018 annual plan and schedule a public hearing on the adoption of the plan. Heather?
All right. We are required to complete an annual plan every year. This is in regards to our policies, programs, operations, and strategies for meeting our local housing needs and goals. There are 2 parts to the PHA plan. There's a 5-year plan, obviously, that we update every 5 years, and then the annual plan that's done in the years in between. This is our 4th year of the current 5-year plan cycle. We have started to review our program policies, and over the next 2 months and prior to the April 10th public hearing on the plan, we'll continue reviewing and updating our policies, and we'll conduct meetings with public housing and Section 8 resident advisory boards to get their input. And we'll look at our proposed capital improvement plans for the upcoming year. We'll submit a draft of the annual plan to the EDA at the March meeting. And then at our meeting on April 10th, 2018, we'll have our public hearing and approve the final annual plan.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion approving the schedule for approval of the fiscal year 2018 annual plan and scheduling a public hearing on adoption of the plan at 8:00 a.m. Tuesday, April 10th, 2018.
No second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 7C, consider resolution to declare surplus property and authorize disposition of it. Heather?
All right, we've been transitioning to electronic tenant files in an effort to go paperless, reap the cost savings and efficiencies that go along with that. We have 2 file cabinets we've been able to empty out as we've scanned the files, and we no longer need them. They were offered to other city departments, but were not needed in any other departments, so we'd like to declare them surplus and
I'll offer the
get
resolution.
rid of them.
I'll second that.
We got a motion and a second to offer resolution waived reading. Any more discussion? Seeing none? Heather, please call the roll.
Commissioner Braun?
Yes.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Yanni?
Yes.
Commissioner Schultz?
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz?
Yes.
President Schmitz?
Yes, motion carries.
Schwartz or Schmitz?
Tongue twister.
Item 7D, consider motion authorizing payment of the public housing program claims. Heather, anything on that? Or just pretty much
The only
routine?
thing out of the ordinary there was the final payment on the roof project.
I'll offer a motion authorizing payment of the public housing program claims for January 9th, 2018.
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, that's an amount of $28,246.18. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 8A, consider renewing the realtor contract for the spec house located at 633 Fender Drive.
Okay. We've been working with Century 21 Realty up in the Milford Heights First Edition since September 2012. We currently have one spec house at 633 Fender Drive listed with Century 21. The board authorized extending that contract through the end of 2017. It's up for renewal. The house is still unsold. We have staged the house. We had another open house. Century 21's updated the photos with the furniture, but it is still on the market. So we're proposing renewing the contract for another 6 months. Also, as long as we're renewing the contract, I thought it might be a good time to look at a possible price reduction. The house right next door that's virtually identical sold for $150,000 in October. The current price on the house at 633 is $159,900. In talking with Century 21, they're recommending lowering the price to $149,900 to get it under the $150,000 price point. So I guess I'll offer that up for discussion.
But the actual motion in front of us right now is to renew the realtor contract.
In order to do that, you need to set the price. Or agree that the current price that we
We can
have
do
is
both.
the appropriate prices to offer that. I
we
did
get mu-
extend it from December 31st to today, because it actually ran out. So to get us to today, so at least we had somebody
Right.
brokering it, I extended it to today.
How did we do with the open house? Do you know? Did we get much of a turnout?
I don't recall if I got any feedback off that, really.
I didn't hear anything.
I know we certainly got better pictures. You know, we tried the staging thing, and
We also did offer an option to finish the basement
oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
and sell it at a higher price, including the cost of that. That didn't generate anything. You know, it's our last house. We're not intending to build any more. It's been on the market. I think I have in here somewhere. Since August 2016, we did a $5,000 price reduction in March 2017. You know, we tried these additional things this fall. We just haven't been able to move this house.
That previous sale really is a fairly clear indicator of the market's perception of the value of that home.
We didn't have a full appraisal done, but we did
Yeah.
do a market study, and the market study came in at 150, and that's why we dropped the price down, and it ultimately sold. Then we discussed the potential that, well, maybe what's holding people back is completing the basement. So let's offer it at a higher price and complete the basement, and that did not result in any sales.
It's,
So
I guess my thinking is we want to kind of get out of the house business, so let's do what it takes to get rid of it and make somebody happy.
I agree with that. I think we're trying to bring the whole Milford, at least our involvement, to a close and let private development take over there in phase 2, and this is kind of the final chapter. I guess I'd entertain a price drop. I don't know why we would, because part of me thinks, oh, maybe we should go halfway or whatever, but I don't know. Maybe with spring just around the corner, hopefully spring is around the corner, I don't know. You know, things will start gearing up and that we'll see an increase in activity or whatever as more people enter the marketplace to look. And I still think we're looking at a situation where there's not an overabundance of listings out there. So I would be optimistic that we'd sell it, especially with a price reduction.
I guess I agree. I mean, there's two schools of thought. You could cut it by 5,000 or go 155-ish, and then they negotiate down, or you offer it up at 149 and hold firm, and either way you probably end up same spot.
Probably get to the same place, I agree, yeah.
Good point. Good point.
I don't mind the $5,000 drop, and then have someone negotiate. Because otherwise they come along with 149.9 and then want negotiations on top, and it's like, you know, you can't have both. But if we stick at 149.9 or whatever firm, we're still getting there. I agree.
A price reduction also gives the realtor an opportunity to create some buzz, you know.
Well, every time you move into a certain price point, it just opens the door for more people that are, you know, approved with their financing in that price range. So I think the more, and it just gets on people's radars then at that point, and the realtors are going to say, okay, here's a list of homes listed in your price range, and that's going to bring more potential buyers when we get into that price range. So I don't disagree with Sue at all as far as kind of meeting halfway, just to give us some wiggle room there. So because I agree with you, if we go down to 149, then somebody's going to come in and try to negotiate from that point. So wherever we set it, you can probably count on there being some negotiating on the price.
Given the income of the buyer also, the price of 149.9 is not 149.9. It gets reduced by.
If they qualify
If
for
they
the
qualify.
$2,500
Oh,
price
a
reduction.
good point. That's a great point, yeah. And so far, every home we have sold, they've been TIF eligible, isn't that correct?
TIF eligible, there's a lower set of income guidelines that they would need to qualify to get the $2,500 price reduction.
Oh, okay.
It's a lower income. The TIF is
It's higher.
higher.
Gotcha, okay,
Yeah.
that's right.
So not everyone qualifies for the $2,500 price reduction, but it could happen.
Yeah, quite a few have, though.
Yeah.
We'd see probably more activity if we dropped it to 10,000 though, because you're gonna hit a different scale.
Segment of the market, yeah, absolutely.
And maybe have a better chance of getting rid of it. I mean, we could do your 5,000 too, but do
What
we
if
really wanna hang
we
on it
said
that
like
long?
152.9, that would keep that door open for the $2,500 reduction, but you get it close to that 150 mark. And then
I like
that
that
gives
idea.
us some wiggle room. That said, I guess I'll offer that motion to extend the contract and lower the price to 152.9.
I'll second that.
We got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 8B, receive a letter from the Minnesota Housing Partnership regarding Housing Institute. Heather?
All right, as you're aware, we are receiving technical assistance from Minnesota Housing Partnership through their Strengthening Rural Communities program, and as a result of that, we have been invited to participate in their upcoming Housing Institute. I believe this is their 6th Housing Institute, and we will begin working with them this month on the team application and building our team, bringing in additional stakeholders as team members. I can have a team of up to 8 people, so I've started recruiting for that. We have a meeting on Monday, January 22nd to do the team application, and then the Housing Institute kicks off with a workshop on February 13th and 14th. It's an 18-month program. We meet monthly, and there will be 5 workshops as well. So I will be busy with that for the next year and a half. But hopefully we'll be able to develop a project and have something come out of it at the end. So we're excited about the opportunity.
Thank you.
I'll offer a motion to receive the letter from Minnesota Housing Partnership.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item, excuse me, 8C, receive hotel feasibility analyst. Heather, or Brian?
Yeah, the city entered into a contract with Stephen Scherf of Hospitality Consulting Group for $8,000 to perform a hotel feasibility study to see if there was enough capacity in the community to warrant additional housing. Mr. Scherf got the original payment of $4,000 paid upon contract signing. He contacted me a while back, a week or so ago, and just said, Brian, there's no sense in continuing on and spending your $4,000 to complete the contract. I can tell you right now there's no capacity during the week nights. So Sunday through Thursday night, the business class, we have capacity exceeding what our needs are. On the weekends, we do not have as much capacity as we need. And some of those individuals are going to Mankato and potentially the higher end, hotel, motel chains. So his conclusion is that given our current capacities during the week and the weekend, and that society in general is not going in the direction we want it to go. There's not as much weekday commercial business because people can Skype, people can email, people can, salesmen aren't going place to place to place anymore like they used to. So that market is going downwards. So commercial travel is dropping off. Weekend is high, but the rates are not going to be good for the remaining hotels if another hotel were to come into town. So we'd be shooting ourselves in the foot, in other words, making things worse for those that are already here. So with that in mind, he basically just said, my conclusion is no sense in costing you an extra $4,000 to finish the report. The handwriting's on the wall. You probably would not benefit from an additional hotel or motel in your community.
Mr. Chair, I was one of them that really pushed for this study, and obviously quite disappointed with the results, and they are what they are. I know there was a hotel that was banging on our door wanting to come in, wanting to study before they were going to be willing to even move forward, and I think would have moved forward had it been a positive report. But I just know there's so many people out there that are frustrated with, obviously, like it says, the weekend rate. Can't get a hotel in town, so they go to Sleepy Eye or Mankato, go somewhere else to stay, spend their money in that town, and don't spend it in our community. But the study's the study, and thankfully he didn't charge us the whole entire rate. I appreciate that. I know some people will be very frustrated when they read this, and I still think there's a chance for a future hotel if our market continues to grow and the housing is bringing more people in. And on the other hand, you got the Airbnbs. We have, 5, 6, 7 of them in town that are occasionally renting now, and that are certainly taking up some of the lodging, not a lot, but some. So disappointing.
Yeah. If something changes, if something in the economy changes, if something in the community changes, that impacts the results of the study. So, but as it currently sits, with anticipating no changes,
Right.
two nights out of 7 is not going to be profitable for any of them.
I think if I remember right, it said 20 weekends a year we are slammed.
Yes.
And then after that, it's not, we're not. Does he have a breakdown of his statistics? Is this all we got?
This is all we received, yeah. I mean, if we want to spend the other $4,000 in
No, I didn't know if there was
total
just more.
breakdown of why it won't work, but he's just basically saying, he called me up and he said, Brian, I want to talk to you. The numbers just aren't there.
Yep.
And I said, send me your recap, which you've all received now. I'll pass this on to the hotel chain and let them know what we found out.
Yep.
About a year ago, Brian, we had a Mayo Clinic come to Region 9 over in Mankato and talk to us. They have the opposite problem because of the clinics down there. They're full of weekends and they're looking for people on weekends. So
Oh, really?
yeah, the weekdays are booked. So
You'll see that up
We're
in the
not
Twin
close enough
Cities
to-
also, where you've got hotels in more industrialized areas. You know, we drive by them and you see the industries there, and then you'll see a hotel there. Well, they're servicing the Monday through, or Sunday through Thursday industry. Maybe consultants coming in, maybe, you know, specialists, whatever it is. But on the weekends, they're empty also. You know, so each location has its own uniqueness. Each community has its own uniqueness.
And at least now we know. I guess that's the main thing.
we need more weekday
Glad we did.
celebrations.
Is there a number of hotel beds or whatever rooms, you know, that relates to the population of a community? Did he touch on that at all? I mean, if New Ulm were to grow population-wise at some point down the road, would it make sense to commission
Probably
another study?
not,
Or is it-
because the population of the community obviously has a house. They've got a place they're living already.
Yeah, but I guess my thinking on it is more population means more people employed in the community, and more people employed is going to bring some of that weekday, lodging. I guess that's my thought process behind that. And I don't know if there's something we keep an eye on. You know, if we hit a certain benchmark in population, would it be beneficial to reopen this down the road a little way? It's just thinking along those lines. Or is it the overall trend because people are doing WebEx conferencing and not doing face-to-face meetings like they used to? Is that really what's driving this, you know, the weekday type lodging, numbers?
You know, if we had, let's say, a hospitality group that was focused here or located here and was bringing in the REAs for a conference or convention, and then next week, Monday through Wednesday, we're bringing in the Doctors Pediatric Association conference. You know, if we had something where we could build that weekday traffic, we'd be better off. But because the weekends are kind of covered as it is, weddings on weekends covered, for the most part. Festivals covered. It's the weekday stuff, and you see that up in Fergus Falls. They're a center. They've got a convention center along with a hotel, and they're pulling in from North Dakota, South Dakota, and that part of the state because there's nothing else that size. There's nothing else that can handle these conferences or large gatherings. So we got Mankato.
Yeah, that's...
There's location again. So Fergus Falls is a different community compared to New Ulm, and we're the same size. You can go up to the cities, and I know you've seen some of those little population placards. It'll say it's over by St. Paul. 610 people. But if they're located next to the industrial park of the next city and they have a hotel, the size of their community is meaningless. It's location. So there's probably more stuff that went into his analysis that, you know, we're not necessarily privy to because we didn't get the entire
Sure.
report. But the conclusion is pretty clear.
Well, and that's maybe one of the takeaways here is if New Ulm as a community wanted to develop a hospitality sort of segment for the weekday thing, this is a good indicator that that's an area we need to work on if the folks out there want to look toward that. So,
I asked the question of Mr. Scherf when he was here. I said, you know, he gave an example of a community that was kind of into quilting. You know, Lanesboro, some place where you get away, you spend the weekend, 8 people get together and they just quilt till the cows come home, you know, all weekend, and then they go back home. I said, well, why don't, and they want a hotel also. Okay. I said, well, why don't the hotel that we have, let's say New Ulm, work with the quilting people to put on quilting Monday through Wednesday, you know, sessions? And he goes, that just doesn't happen. You know, the hotels don't see that as part of their job. And the quilting people are going, it's so nice to go to a bed and breakfast because everybody's in the same house and everybody's, you know, it's a tight, compact sort of event. And so it's just kind of like, why can't we put those two things together? We could if somebody wants to put the work into it. So yeah, are there opportunities? I think there are. It's just we have to ferret them out. And that's part of this local economic gardening material is,
Sure.
is ferreting out those things that people are passing by. You know, they're not tying them together
well,
as a potential.
that's a positive thing we can take away from this, I think, is what I was trying to make Les feel better about pushing for this so hard. You know, that,
Darn it.
yeah.
Well, the other thing I pulled out of this report is, you know, they did talk about the craft and the 3M work that's been going on for the last couple of years, filling up certainly a percentage of our hotels. And with those projects ending here, they're talking about how that will affect the rates as well. And anyway, it's disappointing, but we'll move on.
Right. But in the big scheme, you've got, you know, Firmenich looking at an expansion. You're
there's
looking
always
at
seems to be
Windings at an expansion. You know, potentially you've got the machining, you know, place. You know, looking at buying a lot. And so those workers have to typically live someplace too. And if they're coming from outside, they're going to be here for the weekday event. So we have things that are, you know, in the future that could potentially benefit the weekday. But we got lots of beds right now during the weekdays. So
I'll offer a motion to receive the hotel feasibility analysis.
And I will second.
We got a motion,
Sadly received.
second. Any more discussion?
Sadly received. Make that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. With no more business, meeting adjourned.